And look at that, fixed. Awesome. Well, hey everyone, again, I'm coming from Dallas, Texas. We are going to be talking about QuickBooks Online payroll. So I'm so sorry if you are here looking for a desktop class. This is only QuickBooks Online, and we'll be covering payroll today. And I got Lynn here from Pennsylvania. Nice to see you, Lynn. A little bit of snow up there. Carmen from California. I'm not sure if that's north or south. I'm not sure what the weather's like for you. And Rosa from Virginia. Angie, just saying can't hear. You might actually have to log out, log back in. All right, let's see if we can get that started. Alyssa's in Chicago. Hey, I love Chicago. I lived there for 6 years, but I did not like the weather. January and February, it's really cold. I didn't have a car there, so I walked around a lot, took the bus. Yeah, it's brutal for about 3 months there. But hey, that's enough of the weather and everyone else joining us. Hey, Kimber, I see you. Alyssa, Natalia, glad to have you here. We're going to start into QuickBooks Online payroll. Right there, keyword payroll today. All right, so we are going to go through which subscription's right for you. There are 3 subscription types now. And we're going to set up payroll from the very beginning. I've got a company file that is nothing in it right now. So we're going to go in really quick, set up the 1 or 2 things we need, and then create payroll from there. I'm going to show you how to set up your employees, how to pay them, how to deal with your taxes. The nice thing about the new form of payroll is that all the taxes are automated for you. So you don't actually have to worry about making sure they're paid on time. QuickBooks does that for you. And we'll go even show you how to pay your non-tax liabilities. Those you'll have to pay on your own. All right, if we're going to go forward with today's class, or just you in general, filling out your payroll information, I would recommend having this in front of you. This being your W-4 forms for your employees. Make sure those are filled out, have those in front of you. Your year-to-date payroll. This is December. We're about halfway through the month, and you need to have your 2019 payroll numbers in front of you. That way you can actually have that information input into QuickBooks when you start, so that you can hand out W-2s at the end of the year. We will talk about your federal EIN number and your state numbers. Those come directly from the government when you sign up to be a company. You should also have things like your state unemployment rate in front of you, and even your account and routing numbers for direct deposit. So let's jump into QuickBooks now. There we are. So this is a brand new company file. I just started it, so there's nothing in here. I'm going to go into Chart of Accounts and create a checking account, just so we have something to pay our employees out of. All right, new, and make sure our checking account is up here. We're good with that. Let's give ourselves $50,000 to work with. Why not? Save and close. There we are. Now we have a checking account that we can pay out our employees through. Speaking of employees, let's go over to the Workers tab, click on Employees, see what happens. We don't have any employees, so we don't have anything to put in the screen, which is great because we also don't have payroll set up on our company file. So let's get started. Now, payroll has changed very recently. This is actually the first time I've taught this class with the new payroll form. So I've got a pretty good idea of what's supposed to happen, but the payroll screens have changed a little bit. So bear with me. There will be times where I go, what do I do? My apologies. We just have only seen this screen a few times. What's the difference between the 3 new types of QuickBooks payroll? Well, Core is what we're going to be going over today. This is the most simple version. And even if I scroll down a little bit, all right, there you go, a little more detail on these. Core is the most simplified version, but even the most simple version compared to Premium and Elite, these all have automated tax prep and forms. What this means is that going forward, QuickBooks handles your taxes for you. So all you have to do is make sure payroll is entered correctly, that you run it every week. Then when that monthly or quarterly or yearly time comes around for you to pay taxes on your payroll, again, specifically just payroll, QuickBooks does it for you. It knows when to pay these taxes and it knows how much to pay the taxes. It will go directly into your bank account, take the money out, and send it to the government. Also, it'll send the forms for you as well. It will create electronically generated forms that you can print, and it will electronically send them to the government. No matter which version you choose, Core, Premium, Elite, all three of them now are able to do that automated taxes for you. You can see right there the price differences. Core is $45 a month plus $4 per employee, $75 plus $8, and $125 plus $10. And again, these are automated taxes. You still have to go through and run the actual payroll. I'm going to run the Core version, because if you can figure out how to run the Core version, you can figure out how to run all three versions. The only difference is you get a lot more support and additional automation and additional conveniences that come with Premier and Elite. Here with Premier, you can get the same day direct deposit, whereas you get next day direct deposit with Core. That's still really fast. It used to be that 24 hours to 48 hours was fast, and now this is next day. So really quick. And again, direct deposit is included with your Core choice. You also get expert setup review. You can grant extra user permissions, and you even get an HR support person. What this means is with Premium, if you're going to fire, say, John, because John is a terrible, terrible employee, right? You can call up that HR support center and go, hey, you know what? We really need to fire John. Can you give us some HR advice so this doesn't come back to bite us later on? How do we go about this the correct way? That is your HR support center there that comes with Premier. You want to go up even higher than that, and you can get a personal HR advisor. That's the same person. Every time you call in, you get the same person. And you get this extra time tracking, meaning you get geofencing and project planning. What this is your employees can log in on their cell phones and tap sign in, tap sign in, and they're signed in for their work for the day. And it shows you where they are when they make that button push. At the end of the day, they push sign out, and it tells you where that cell phone was when they signed out. Really nice options that come with Elite. But again, as long as you can figure out how to run Core, everything else is just the same, just added benefits. So we're going to do the 30-day trial. Now QuickBooks is going to add that to my company file, and we'll start filling out information. Now, most of the information we're going to fill out here in payroll is just what applies to you. Really, this is just what matters to you and your company. What's your address? Fill that in. What's your phone number? Fill that in. Who's in charge of payroll? Fill that in. And I don't mean this to be patronizing, but it is simple information. The difficult part is kind of parsing out what are they asking for and why are they asking these things. And really, once you've seen me go through this, it will really help once you go through it, because there'll be that confidence of having watched someone else step through these choices. And we're going to do all of this very fast, or at least as fast as I possibly can, because there's a lot of information to cover in the next, 40 minutes that we have. So let's get started. And here we're going to cover, have you paid your employees in 2019? I'm going to say, yes, we have. Why are we being asked this question? Because we need to be able to enter information for W-2s. Think of it, if we've paid our employees in any form, whether we're tracking this in Excel or someone else tracked it in ADP, right? Any other form, we've paid them this year and we took taxes out, we have to tell QuickBooks how we paid our employees from January till now, so that we can take all of that past information add up the next 2 weeks and give them a W-2 at the end of the year. So we need to enter that information here soon. When's our next payday? Well, if I can remember right, we're what, the 11th today? So let's say payday's the 13th. Done. Enter your business address. And this is just, again, information that applies to you and your company. Let's go down and find Texas here. Ooh, come on. There is Texas. Now is it going to ask me for a county? Oh, yep, does it after the fact. Choose Dallas. Make sure your information is correct. Just again, whatever fits you and your company. All right, so we've gone through our first step in payroll. Cool. So now this overview is setting up QuickBooks Payroll. And it's saying, hey, we've done our first 2 steps. Let's move on to number 3, which is tell us about your team. So when we go in here, we're going to set up 1 employee. Yes, you probably have more than 1, but once I show you how to set up 1 employee, the rest are much easier. So let's go through and add an employee. First employee is going to be Matt. L for Louisius, or whatever else you decide L wants to be. Westlake. Email. Why are we putting someone's email in here? Or what happens if Matt just gives me some throwaway email because he doesn't want me having his personal email information? Well, that's bad for Matt. Matt needs to give me an email that he actually checks on a regular basis, because I can now invite this employee to view their pay stubs and W-2s online. And this is going to be through Intuit Workforce. That is a app. That's an Intuit owned app. This will not allow Matt to log into my QuickBooks. This allows Matt to log into his own login and information on the Workforce page. And he'll get an invite directly through me setting it up here. And this allows him to go through and look at what are his prior pay stubs. He can print his prior pay stub. How much sick, how much vacation pay does he have left? How much has he used? Really great information so that you don't have to keep printing information off or sending it back to Matt. What are Matt's withholdings? Basically, does Matt know how to read and write? Can he fill out a W-4 form? That's what we're looking at right here. W-4 forms are nice because all you have to do is print a blank one off online anywhere. Just search W-4 form 2019 print. If you want, you can come right in here and print your own forms through QuickBooks. And then give it to Matt. And hopefully Matt knows his own information. Chooses what applies to him. And it's really nice. Matt lives just down the road. And by just down the road, I mean next door. Choose the county, Dallas. He does not choose to have any exemptions or allowances. And for exemptions, which are pretty rare, they are currently turned off. Now here's the thing about payroll. If you get to a point where you're like, oh, QuickBooks Payroll can't do that for me, like here, there's no exemption buttons. It's not that there aren't exemptions available to you. You just need to call up payroll and they will turn on the correct ones for you. People get kind of confused sometimes when you turn on too many buttons, too many really specific buttons that don't apply to you. So that's why payroll has kind of hidden some of them. Just pick up the phone, call the payroll number, and that's another part of the added support that comes with the new versions of payroll, is you're easily able to call in and get direct help. They'll be able to turn on new buttons for you on your screens. All right, so we filled out Matt's W-4 information. Now, how often do we pay Matt? Well, let's go in and create a pay schedule. We need to figure out pay day and pay period. You see over here, we've got pay period 5 to 11. These are the days that Matt's actually going to get paid out on this date. You see, pay period doesn't always have to end on pay day. That's actually more difficult to do it that way. You'll typically want pay period and then pay day to be just 2 days later or a day later. It's up to you. So I'm going to show you how to set up the little more complicated version, which is the twice a month. And then we'll come back and do the easy one every week. Set up a custom schedule. Now we get to choose which 2 days of the month, dates of the month, do we pay out. So let's choose, say, the 15th. That's what my company does. And the last day of the month, because you see, not every month has 30 days in it. So let's choose end of month. Now, when does our pay period end? Pay date and pay period are different. Pay period is what range of dates are we accounting for on payroll? Pay day is what day do we actually pay those out? So I'm going to say do days before. Let's do 2 days before payroll. That's when it ends. Our pay period ends here. We've got 2 days and then we pay out. And the same day for down here, 2 days between. That way we can come in, make sure all of our hours are entered correctly, make sure if we're using T-sheets or any kind of other hourly record keeping that our employees got all that information and done right. We can have a little bit of breathing room when it comes to running payroll, and then we can account for our next day direct deposit. What do you want to call this? Twice a month. I mean, that's perfectly descriptive of what we're doing here. Here's the key feature. Use this schedule for employees you add after MAT. That way you don't have to keep trying to make schedules. Also, if you make one schedule and you have most or all of your employees on that one schedule, you just run one payroll. It's a lot more simple. Let's go back and choose, instead of twice a month, let's do every week. And pay out on Friday the 13th. Oh, I just realized it was Friday the 13th coming up. Cool. When's our last paid day of the period? Let's do 2 days before Friday the 13th, the 11th. What do we want to call this? Every Friday. That's descriptive, it's short, sweet, to the point. I understand what that means. And for sure, use this schedule for employees you add after MAT. We're going to create a lot of templates when we go through and add information for MAT. This is one of them. This template, our pay schedule, will be an easy one click, and we can just add that to all of our employees after MAT. How much do we pay MAT? Well, MAT gets paid $25 an hour. Some of you are thinking, cool, that was easy, let's move on. I bet that's not the only way you pay MAT. I bet there's a lot of different ways you pay MAT, and you're just not thinking it through that way. You see, MAT's an hourly employee, but my screen froze. There we go. Matt's an hourly employee, but he has 2 different pay rates. I've actually worked at a job where I had 3 pay rates, just depending on the day I worked and what I was doing. So let's go in and add additional ways to pay Matt, because overtime is a distinctly different way to pay Matt too. We've got to be able to give Matt overtime. First off, let's fill out Matt's second hourly wage, hourly 2, and that is $30 an hour. What's Matt get paid $30 an hour for? Let's click this little pencil button and edit the name. Instead of hourly 2, let's call it gardening. Matt is a master at gardening. And part of the reason we hired him, because he's so good at it. So we're going to give him a higher pay rate for that. Maybe you've got a 3rd or a 4th hourly pay type. Go ahead and add those in here. If this is a salary employee, you can choose that right up here at the top. Even commission only, it's available for you. Whichever one of these 3 you choose, you can still choose any of these 3 down here to add other ways of paying them. Well, Matt needs overtime pay. And he needs holiday pay. Christmas, New Year's, whatever you're celebrating is coming up. Maybe for hourly or salary, you want to add in bonus or commission. There you go. Every one of these boxes you check is another column that is available for us in payroll, where we can set in hours for this, hours for this, hours for this, different ways of paying Matt. This will make a little bit more sense once we get into the payroll screen. Well, do you pay Matt any sick or vacation pay? We could choose those. And then we have to show, how does vacation pay accrue? Right there. How does sick pay accrue? Right there. Same information. It's just that sick is going to show up on our pay stubs under one column and vacation will show up under another. What if you don't do that? What if you don't distinguish between sick and vacation? My company doesn't. We have just PTO, paid time off, personal time off, whatever you want to call it. So I'm going to set up PTO. And whether you're sick or you're in Aruba, or you're, Aruba? Whether you're sick or in Aruba, doesn't matter. You are using your PTO. Now, how do we want this PTO to accrue? Do we want it to be all at the beginning of the year? That's what my company does. But there's also the option of pay a little each pay period, a little each hour worked, all of it on an anniversary date that's not January 1st, or unlimited. I'm going to say let's do this on the beginning of the year. How many hours does Matt earn per year? And this will depend, let me see. Oh, no, that is the same per hour worked. Okay. And so depending on what you choose over here, changes what Matt earns. So let's do 80 hours per year. That's what Matt gets. And then is there a maximum allowed? 100 hours. Because Matt can roll some over into the next year, but not a lot. So let's do OK. Now we've got another template set up for our employees after Matt. Maybe there's more ways that you pay Matt beyond these original 3. Let's click the button for even more ways. Scroll down. Maybe you've got an allowance or a reimbursement. Well, we're going to give Matt the option of being reimbursed for, say, the fuel he purchases every now and then riding around. But there's other options in here, quite a few. And again, if you see something that, or if you don't see something you're looking for, just try other earnings, and that will work for you to create a new column. Click Done. Scroll back down a little further. Okay, we've talked about all the reasons that we pay Matt. What reasons, other than taxes, do we take money out of Matt's check? Retirement, healthcare, child support. Let's go in and add some deductions. Now, these deductions are a lot like garnishments. What's the difference? A garnishment is something that the federal government says this money is coming out of their check. A deduction contribution is something where you're saying, hey, you know what, employee, I'm going to withhold some of this money for you and send it over there, right? Again, these are non-tax deductions. They all get set up the exact same way. It's just one's a garnishment, child support and alimony are one of those varieties. Others are deductions contributions. Typically, they go towards the employee in some way. These deductions are a lot like HSA plans, health insurance, retirement. We're going to set up a health insurance. All the rest of them get set up the exact same. You just choose from different drop downs. Let's choose medical. And then at the end, why is this money being held out? Whether it's a garnishment or a deduction, this is the why. It's going to show up directly on their pay stub. Good Health Insurance. That's the name of the provider for our insurance for our company. Now, is there any deduction that comes out of the employee's check? Well, yeah, we're going to choose a specific amount. We could choose percentage of gross pay. There's the same options for company paid contribution. Are you, as the employer, going to hold out any money of your own and deposit in here? There you go. You've got that option. I'm going to say no for right now. Down here at the bottom, really important. Do you think that your health insurance or whatever this garnishment is taxable or pre-tax? If you're not sure what that means, or if you're not sure which one applies to you, contact your plan administrator. Well, now you're thinking, I don't know what my plan administrator is. What name did you put right there? This is your plan administrator. So call them to figure out whether or not this is taxable or pre-tax. Chances are, though, it's taxable. Click OK. All right, let's scroll down past our deductions, and we're going to talk about how do you want to pay Matt. Well, we're going to pay Matt with a check, paper check. But there's always the option of direct deposit right there. Or you could direct deposit into 2 accounts, right? Or split between a check. And we're just going to write them a paper check. Now, if we chose direct deposit, all we would need is the routing number and account number from either a voided check or from a direct deposit authorization form. Again, this can come directly from the bank, or you could print one off right here, find one online and print it off, and they'll fill that out for you, or a voided check works. I'm just going to say we're paying with paper check. A few more details. When was Matt hired? Oh, that's his birth date. Never mind. We'll call this 1995 and 1/1/2016. That wasn't even typing, 2016. There we go. So we've got his birth date and his hire date in there. Now, end of the employee question. How much did you pay Matt so far this year? This is very, very important because of all the things we're going to set up today, or of all the things you could possibly set up in QuickBooks, this is one of the few that you cannot come back and edit later on. Can't do it. Once you've entered this information, or once you skip this information, you cannot just come back and re-enter it. You have to pick up the phone and call payroll. So we're going to enter 2019 prior pay details. What's that look like? First off, it's going to ask you a few questions. It's going to say, did you pay Matt anytime between January 1st and September 30th? The first 3 quarters of the year. I'm going to say, yes, we did. And there is a set of columns to set up all the different ways that we paid Matt between the beginning of the year and September 30th. Okay, well, did you pay Matt at all this 4th quarter? Yes. There is another column there to make up the difference between September 30th or October 1st and today. So fill out all the information for those 2 columns. Why? So that you can give Matt a W-2 in a month, right? Because this is going to record, it's not going to upset your accounts. This isn't going to change your expense accounts or your payroll liabilities at all. This won't affect them. It's just for that W-2 information going backwards. Do it now before you finish setting up your employees, or you cannot come back and do it on your own. For right now, I'm just going to lie to the computer, which you shouldn't do. And I'm going to say, no, Matt doesn't have any prior pay information for this year, just because I don't want to take the time to fill it all out and make stuff up. Let's do continue. All right, Matt's pretty much established as an employee now. We can scroll through here and see that we've filled out all the appropriate information. So let's click done. And there we go. Matt hasn't been paid anything yet this year, so that would let us know we haven't put any of his prior pay detail in yet. If we get to this point, we can always go back and fix it. But once we click continue, Matt is saved and done. We can't come back and fix Matt's prior pay information. Extra employees, add them right there. Click continue. Now it's going to say, hey, buddy, you didn't actually put in your prior pay information again. Do that now or forever hold your peace. I'm going to say, no, we don't want to enter any more information. Now, what if you get to this point and you've set up multiple of your employees and you're thinking, well, I want to go back and add new deductions, or I want to be able to go back and add vision insurance. You can do that anytime you want. Just go into the Employees tab, click on the employee, and you can add new deductions. That's fine. It's just that prior pay information that can't be added in later on. All right, now let's enter in our tax information. So we're going to set up our taxes. And again, this is just what applies to you and your company. I'm going to say all of my information is the same as what I've entered in before, because some of you might have different doing business as names or addresses. I'm going to say we're going to run our first payroll before next year. Did you hire employees within the last, did you hire your first employee within the last 6 months? No, we've had Matt for longer than that. Again, this applies to our company. Do you want a quote? Nope, I don't really want a quote, but you could get one. That might be smart. Now we're going to go through and look at our federal tax details. Now, I don't actually have federal tax details, so I'm going to set this up real quick with something that's just not real. All right, so my number's in there. If you don't have your number, just say, no, I haven't actually received it yet, or that paper's somewhere else. That's fine. You can come back and set that later. Who's your principal title officer? Ooh, I read that wrong. What is your principal officer title? Again, choose whatever fits you. Which payroll tax form? Again, when you signed up to be a real company with the government, what do they tell you? Most of the time, 941. How often do you pay your taxes? Again, what were you told? Probably going to be monthly. And again, are you a non-for-profit? No, we're not a non-for-profit. We are trying to make money, so we're going to say no. Continue on to our state tax details. Now, what if I had employees in 4 or 5 states? When I get to this point, setting up my state tax details, I would now be able to enter in tax details for those states. That way, when it comes to running my taxes, my payroll taxes for those people who live in other states, QuickBooks has already got that information for me. So again, I'm going to put in my fake information here, which I think I need to put another dash in. There we go. Again, you should put in real information. What is your state unemployment percentage? This changes. It depends on you and your company, so I'm going to put in 3.5. And again, I say and again a lot. I've realized that over the last few days. Your state tax details is going to look different than mine because there's 49 other states out there, and if you're not in Texas, yours won't look like this. Fill out whatever applies to you and your company. This looks good to me. Let's click done. Federal tax information. Are we all good here? Choose company type, sole proprietor. I'm the owner. That looks good to me. Click done. All right, so we're working our way down this list. Now we have to connect our bank. So you remember when I said all these screens changed and a lot got different over the last week or so? Yeah, this is the one. And I forgot my little script of paper that was supposed to tell me the fake numbers to add in here to make this look real. So I'm going to apologize ahead of time if this takes me a little bit of hunting and pecking to finish some of this. We are a sole proprietor. Cool, thumbs up. Business address. Look at that. Auto entered. Sweet. Thank you, Google Chrome. And our state is Texas because Texas is the bestest. So I've been told, at least. They can't find this to be a real place. Oh, that's fun. Well, why not? Is that a real place? Okay, let's try LBJ. Can't find that one. Are you going to suggest something for me? Aha, there we go. Now they're going to suggest it for me. Choose a real location. Business phone number. Well, I can totally lie about that. That doesn't. Well, 3, there we go. Got a number in there. Again, this is just information that applies to me. What's correct for you and your business? And what we're doing right now is we're setting up our company's real world bank so that we can use direct deposit with our employees directly from our bank account to their bank account. Also for our taxes, because remember I said all the taxes are automated now? This way money can go from our real bank to the federal government, automated. All right, let's go through, click next. Owner's first name. All right, well, I guess I'm the owner. Oops, that's supposed to be the back button. Same as business address, let's call that 120. Ooh, whoa, not that young. 90. All right. I used to skip a whole bunch of this information and just hand wave and say, imagine with me, but we can't do that anymore. All right, let's add a new bank account. And let's go through, let's see if we can add information manually. Routing number. Let's see if I can fake this really quick. I don't actually know how many numbers. Not a valid routing number. That's okay. Cool. Oh, I can't. I may just have to actually look up our real routing number. Yep. See, this is the little slip of paper that I forgot to bring in with me that had a real routing number on it. So just one moment, I'm going to look that up. And, oh, come on. Quick copy and paste. Thank you, Internet. I knew it started with 11. JP Morgan Chase, yay! That's the nice thing about this screen is that when you're not a fraud like me and you put your real routing number in here, it shows you what bank that should be. Tampa, Florida. Sure. Let's do safe. So there's my bank information too. Now let's do accept and submit, and then it's going to take a couple of days. Oh, come on. I have to confirm my. I think I got too many numbers in there. Yep. Come on. This is going to take a day or two to go through and actually submit is correct, because they're going to do not a background check. They're just going to check and make sure that you're a real person, your company is a real place, real business, and that you've got a real bank account number. Basically, they want to just make sure you're not a terrorist and that you'll be paying your taxes. That's really all they're checking, making sure that you are on the up and up. And once this loads, sweet, we are all ready to pay. Now, it says we're ready to pay with paper checks. That's all we can do right now because our bank connection hasn't actually gotten there yet. So let's go in here and just make sure that this is all filled out, right? Thank you. We're reviewing your information. That's great. All right, so why can't I sign my tax forms? Let me figure that out real quick. Taxes, payroll tax. Ask me to finish payroll setup. So I think this is the point where I've gotten this far in my one payroll, and I'm gonna have to real quick log out, sign into a different company file that will let me finish this up. Because this new payroll won't let me just fudge the numbers. So let me log into this other company file real quick, and we can continue actually running payroll and taking a look at what do you have to do after payroll. All right, back in our second test environment here. So let's go down to workers, employees. Let's just make sure that payroll is turned on so we can move forward. Get started. Now we shouldn't actually be restarting everything from scratch since this is a test environment for me. Yeah, this should work just right. Come on, sample company. Yay! So now we've gone through and we've set up our employees. We went in and set up our bank information. We're really close to done. So let's go through. Oh no, we already set up all of it. I forget. They changed the, not the process, they changed the process up on me a little bit. And so we actually have already entered in our tax information. I forget that they've swapped that for me now. So cool, we've set up our tax information. We've got a few different employees down here. Let's actually go through and run payroll now. Up here at the top, run payroll. Now, right now, it looks like we've done $2,300 worth of payroll this year. Not a lot, since I think we've only run one in this company file. But yours will show an entire payroll cost for the year. Really nice to be able to see how that develops over a year, what you've paid out. Let's run payroll. Okay, now we've got our checking account. This is a big thing to always look at. Always, 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 always go check. What checking account am I using? Because some of you, you've only got one checking account in your company and it will never change. You'll always use this same checking account. I still recommend coming up here just to be sure, because we've got people that we work with and they'll ask us questions about like, hey, I messed up and I used the wrong checking account. How do I fix that? It's a huge pain in your business's backside to take care of this if you use the wrong checking account. Some companies have 2, 3, maybe 4 different checking accounts they work out of. They run payroll number 1 out of account number 2. They roll payroll number 2 out of account number 3 because that makes sense to their business. Always check to be sure you're using the right checking account. the right pay period and the right pay date. Now, I'm breaking all of these rules right now because my pay date isn't even right, but you should be doing these things correctly. Save yourself tons of time. Nice little button over here that says import from previous hours. Maybe you've just got all salary workers. Just, you're done, cool. Or, see, we've got 2 salary workers and 1 hourly. So let's go in and enter in 40 regular hours. Now, again, if we had Matt in here, we'd have another column for gardening because Matt has that 2 different hours, types of hourly pay. One would be regular pay and one would be gardening, but I switched to company files, so we don't have that. How many overtime hours were worked? Well, in this case, 3 overtime hours were worked for Carrie. Now, what about overtime and salary? Well, some of you may actually give your salary employees overtime. Okay, 5 hours overtime, click tab, their amount goes up. Some of you do not give overtime for hourly or salary employees, so you don't cover that. What about sick or vacation? You know, let's say that Eloisa took 8 hours of sick pay. Watch what happens to the total and watch what happens to her salary when I click tab. Total stays the same, salary goes down. Why is that? That's because, remember, these different columns are all being used. So this column is now helping to account for part of the total. And this column, her salary, is accounting for less of the total. This isn't wrong, like QuickBooks isn't broken here. Watch if I go back down to 0 again. Watch the salary go back up, and it's the entire pay. Put 8 hours in, now it's just most of the pay. That's completely correct. That's exactly how QuickBooks is supposed to work. Maybe you wonder about how did these numbers even come to be? Let's go over here and click one of the pencils for any one of these employees. And it's going to give us a detailed breakdown of how did we get the numbers. This 981, how did that even come about? Oh, sorry, 801. How did that even come about? Well, 40 hours at $18 an hour. There you go. 3 overtime hours, $27 an hour. Wait a second, where does that $27 an hour come from? QuickBooks is going to take whatever the highest regular hourly rate is and multiply it by 1.5. That's overtime, 1.5 hours. And 18 times 1.5 is $27 an hour. So that's how QuickBooks handles overtime pay. Scroll down and you can see how many taxes are coming out of the employee's check, what employee other deductions are being brought out, money here taken out of their check, and employer taxes. These are taxes that we need to pay towards our employee. Okay, cool. Well, that helps. A little pencil over there, we do not need to click it. It's just useful for us when we're collecting information. Let's do preview payroll. Now we get to look at how much money was being paid out and from where. A little bit from net pay, that's the amount of money that we're actually paying to our employees. How much are the employees having to be responsible for? How much liability is being taken out of their checks? And how much taxes am I liable for? We're sending out a paper check for $590 and 2 direct deposits for about $1,100. Any information extra you need down here? I think this looks exactly like what we need. Let's do submit payroll. Ta-da! Payroll's run and done. Great. Now we can go through and actually print our checks. Start with check number 124. Do you need to print pay stubs? You can print pay stubs from here too for your direct deposit. Before you run on though, I would recommend come down here and look at view payroll reports. Now here you can look at 5 payroll reports all at one time. Now, yeah, you can usually go to the reports page and look at any one report you want, print one report that you want, export one report that you want, anytime you want. This is the only place you can come to and look at 5 reports at one time, or export 5 reports like I'm doing right now. And not only that, but the date range is specific to the payroll we just ran. There's our payroll. report number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All of this is now saved to our desktop. Really nice information to have concerning your payroll reports week after week after week. Again, do we have to do that? Nope, up to you. Let's get back to our payroll page. Again, that was where we saw the reports from. Let's finish payroll. Hey, it says your tax payments are due. This is because this is the old version of payroll I'm working in right now. They work the exact same up until now. Some of you still have the old version. So I'm going to show you how you can go through and run your taxes. Everyone else that's signing up for payroll now and forward, you won't have to pay your taxes. QuickBooks will do that for you. So I'm going to say I'll do it later. I just want to show you how to get there. All right, overview, we are all caught up, right? Now we've actually done everything. We've waited those 3 days for our bank account to get updated. We are all set. All of our tax information is in there. There's our employees page, which is updated with our new payroll cost. So let's also go to look at our accounts, chart of accounts. Now I hope this actually worked this time, because the last time I tried running payroll in this training environment, it decided not to work. It did it again. Oh, that's a real bummer. Real bummer. See this? All these zeros right here? Those should not be zeros. Payroll liabilities, that parent account and all the sub accounts below it, those are created automatically once you've filled out your payroll and run your first payroll. All of these automatically generated. And what they're doing is the money that our employees got deducted from their payroll as a contribution to their 401k is saved here as a liability, and it would be a positive number. Bright Smile Insurance, that money I took out of my employee's paycheck, saved here. Taxes, 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 all saved right there. Remember that $50 that we set up for Matt to have come out of good health insurance? That $50 would show right here as a positive number. That's money I took away from my employees or set aside from myself, and I'm going to pay these out to either taxes or to companies on behalf of my employees. And QuickBooks has, based on me running payroll and setting it up, created all these payroll liabilities for me. For some reason, there's a little bug in the system right now in this test file that did not take these liabilities out, and it should have. So it's kind of frustrating that it didn't do that. But for those of you who are using these old school payroll options, right, let's go take a look at how to actually run through and pay our taxes. Let's go here to taxes, payroll tax. And on the left side of the screen, you can go to pay taxes. Choose your tax that you want to pay. Again, for people who are signing up for new payroll, you won't have to do this. QuickBooks will do it for you. Let's choose the payroll we want to pay. There's our tax. Now, we could go up here and click Create Payment. Right now, because I'm in a fake company file, again, this is just for people who have the old payroll right now. Sorry, you're the only ones I'm talking to. If you have yours set up with manual or paper coupon method, where you have QuickBooks print off your reports for you, and then you go offline out of QuickBooks, you go to the state and the federal websites, you log into your website, state and federal, and you use your credit card or your debit card to pay your taxes or your bank transfer. Now, after that, after you've logged in, gone and done that, you come back and click Create Payment, and QuickBooks will recognize the bookkeeping for you. Hey, you know what? Bookkeeping, sweet. Our business has gone out, paid these taxes, and come back. Now we want these recorded in our bookkeeping. That's what we're doing right now. Or you could do Pay Electronically if you've got ePay e-file. Again, old versions are able to choose whether or not they ePay, e-file, or make payments themselves. And so you could choose back and forth. Which one do you want? Electronically is actually taking money from the real bank, paying it to the government. This is what all new versions of QuickBooks Payroll will do. This is the only way to pay it. And The new versions pay it automatically, so you don't have to come in here and make this choice. Old versions, you still have to time it yourself. So we're gonna go through and pay electronically. ePay. We're done. That's it. Old versions, you just have to come in here, click ePay, click done, takes real money out of the real account, sends it to the government. Or if you've got the manual paper coupon method, click the same buttons, but QuickBooks doesn't move real money for you. It's up to you. For those of you who are signing up for payroll either today, tomorrow, the next day, going forward, really nice. You don't have to worry about trying to time paying your taxes. QuickBooks does it for you. You go over here and look at accounting, chart of accounts. And in the future, yes, your payroll liabilities will go up and up and up and up until taxes come out, and then they'll go back down to zero. And then they'll start going up again. QuickBooks will pay those taxes and they'll go back down to zero. They'll go up again. QuickBooks will pay the taxes and go back down to zero. It's like magic at that point in time, but QuickBooks has you covered. But not everything's going to get paid automatically through QuickBooks. See this good health insurance down here? QuickBooks won't automatically pay that for you because it's not taxes. It's not going to the government. This is going to a private industry. So how do I, even in the new version or the old version of payroll, how do I pay my good health insurance? Now, there should be $50 held to the side here for Matt. It's a little frustrating that my test file broke. But how would we take the money that's set aside here and pay that towards good health insurance? Very easy. Whether you're going to pay with credit card or with bank transfer or with check, however you want to do that, go to New and choose maybe bank transfer, expense transaction. Did you use your credit card or your debit card? Expense transaction. Did you actually pull out your checkbook and write a check? Well, then go to check. Either way, whatever one you did in the real world, come in here and do that in QuickBooks. I'm going to say that I used just my debit card to make the payment. Who did I pay? Well, good health insurance is my vendor. Add good health insurance. Ooh, come on. Test file is a little slow right now. And now we're going to say, well, how do we pay money out of this liability? This money was held to the side from Matt and from my other employees. How do I make sure this money is what gets sent to good health insurance? Just go down here and enter in that good health insurance payroll liability account. And then how much money is coming out of there? Well, let's say it was $50 that was held to the side. There you go. That $50 is now going to come from that money we held from Matt. Take that same $50 and pay it to good health insurance. Click Save and Close. Now again, the numbers are a little wonky because QuickBooks didn't quite do what it was supposed to here in the test file. But you can see that good health insurance has now gone down $50, which it should be at zero right now if I had $50 set aside in the first place, but my test file just decided it didn't want to work today. So my apologies for that. Hey, if you have any more questions, you want to learn more about QuickBooks, how would you do that? Well, classes just like this one are still available for you. I'm going to jump back to my, where did it go? There we go. We have a YouTube that you can go to. It's just QuickBooks, Intuit QuickBooks YouTube. Log in there and we've got 100 different, more than 100 different 1 to 3 minute videos on how to reconcile, how to do online banking, how to write a check, how to deal with bills, how to deal with expenses. And they're all really topical 1 to 3 minute classes that you can watch very easily. Now, if you're getting to the point where, yeah, you're learning how to use QuickBooks, but you're also realizing I'm spending a lot of time in QuickBooks and it's a real drain on my company Because when I'm working and doing real work, I'm bringing in lots of money. But I wasn't trained as a bookkeeper. I wasn't trained as an accountant. Like I run an ad agency, right? And I make lots of money doing it, but I have to take so much time doing my bookkeeping that I'm losing income opportunity. You could just reach out to Intuit and talk to them about QuickBooks Live, which I think is what I'm showing on my screen right now. Intuit QuickBooks Live is basically like getting a team of bookkeepers that's going to come work for you. It's all online, and they'll do your bookkeeping for you, or at least most of your bookkeeping for you, so that all you have to do is come in, enter the finished product, run your reports, and you're set. So if you're interested in that, go ahead and call or log into QuickBooks. Just go into the Intuit site, click the button for QuickBooks Live, and you'll be able to look at that bookkeeping opportunity that they have for you.